start by saying, Kahalal, Yahawah, BAHASHAM, BAHASHAM, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles of Israel, aka the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and love to all the Akim. Continue to preach the truth and all truth and sincerity. All right, real quick. So, actually, it has to be real quick. I came across this information. This, I think that was yesterday, and I didn't really read it yet. So, I skimmed through it, but as the title reads, it said that Trump administration to set up a national citizenship data system. Now, when I see that, light bulb went off like, oh, this is a clear, big step to the micro C-hip, to the mark of the beast, man. Because like, what the fuck else? Like, with all this stuff going on, with all the ICE and the deportations and all this stuff about national security, all these things, and it paints a picture of reality. Like, yo, they're doing all of this to bring in this new system. So, for instance, they could use a ploy to be like, yo, to the northern tribes, like, yo, if you want to X, Y, Z or keep citizenship or whatever, you gotta do this X, Y, Z. But ultimately, what's that going to be? It's going to be what? Get the C-hip and plant it in your body, because that's ultimately what they want to do. They want to C-hip everybody, but they have to bring up that cause. And right now, we're seeing the moves they're making as far as with this AI shit, automated, all this, you know what I'm saying, all this tracking, all this stuff that they're looking at, where it's like tracking people. It goes to what? To show what? The new system. So what? They're going to shut all these companies down, have no more jobs, so they can keep a sole eye on everyone and watch their spending and all of that. Which means what? That's the beast system. No more under the tables. No more, like, you know what I'm saying, or like you got some people that do the thing where, like, if they collect disability, they're work a certain amount of hours on the books and then get paid off the books or some other shit, shit like that. So Esau wants to be able to monitor every single transaction that's made, whether great or small. And that goes into what? The mark of the beast, which is what? It says what he calls of all, both small and great. Rich and poor to receive a mark in their right hand on their foreheads. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. So this is a clear start, a step to it. So I'm going to read this because I ain't got much time. So this is from the NPR Politics. I forget what NPR stands for, but it's a credible source. So it says the Trump administration has, for the first time ever, built a searchable national citizenship data system. The tool, which is being rolled out in phases, gradually rolled out in phases. It says it's designed to be used by state and local election officials to give them an easier way to ensure only citizens are voting. See? Hear that close eye. But then ultimately, going to be what? Only citizens are making purchases. All right, because they could go in the ploy of, oh, this for voters, but man, they already know who's going to win these elections, man. They don't give a fuck who's a citizen. So it says, but it was developed rapidly without a public process. Oh, just like what else was developed rapidly? The sticky stab. What they call it, the jump shot. But it was developed rapidly without a public process, and some of those officials are already worrying about what else it could be used for. What else could it be used for? To track other things. To track, and that's the thing, that they're getting more and more invasive on your private and personal life, to where they want to know every fabric of your being and every fabric of your day. And it says NPR is the first news organization to report the details of the new system. It says for decades, voting officials have noted that there was no national citizenship list to compare their state list to. So to verify citizenship for their voters, they either needed to ask people to provide a birth certificate or a passport, which a lot of people don't carry on them a lot. Maybe their passport more than their birth certificate. And it says something that could disenfranchise millions or use a complex patchwork of disparate data sources. Disparate sources. It says now the Department of Homeland Security is offering another way. See, the Department of Homeland Security, when they start to get involved, see, the Department of Homeland Security, Shalom B. Moore. It says DHS is in partnership with the White House Department of Governmental Efficiency, the DOGE, which is that Elon Musk team, which has recently rolled out a series of upgrades to a network of federal databases to allow state and county election officials to quickly check the citizenship status of their entire voters list. Citizenship status also means what? CHIP status. Oh, remember they had the whole thing with get a card and see if you had this the jump shot. You see how they doing it? They said they're doing it in phases. The same thing they're gonna do when they usher out the MOTB. They're gonna do it in phases, and then they're gonna try to fade. They're gonna phase out the people that aren't gonna get it. What does that mean? The prophets of YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, who don't get it, we're not, Lord, I pray for the strength every day for the Lord to give me the strength to endure to the end. The people that don't get the chip, how they going to be able to live? They're not going to be able to make sales, buy or sell. And they start with what? Oh, voting rights. Because remember the whole thing with, if you're a felon, you can't vote. Or if you have such, you can't vote. So now they're going to do that with everyday life in America. It says both U.S.-born and naturalized citizens using data from the Social Security Administration as well as immigration databases. Such integration has never existed before, and experts call it a sea change that inches the U.S. closer to having a roster of citizens, something the country has never embraced. A centralized national database of Americans' personal information has long been considered a third rail, especially to privacy advocates as well as political conservatives who have traditionally opposed mass data. I had to turn the Salaki. My phone started to overheat. So I'll make this quick. So this national data system they're talking about for voting, but ultimately it's going to lead to the MOTB. It's going to lead to the B system, and that's what that's the phases. See, he's not talking about phasing a national database, national citizenship database. It's really for the see it, man. It's really for the see it, because at the end of the day, what else is this for? You want to keep track of payments? Like, who gives a fuck who vote? Y'all fix the elections anyway, all right? The elections are already bought and paid for, but ultimately they got to say that because they can't say, oh, we're going to do this so we could bring in this beast system. They got to do it to where, like, oh, voters and this, that, and the third. All right? So it says a legal expert told NPR they were alarmed that the development of this magnitude was already underway without a transparent and public process. So they say, man, fuck the due process. Fuck asking the public. We're just doing this. And that's what they're going to do with the CHIP, man. Because as they're going to have more of these cyber attacks, these FFs, false things. And then they're going to usher out all these new answers to these things that have been happening. But they're orchestrating all of this. And ultimately, this is orchestrated by the elites, which is also ultimately orchestrated by who? YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, the Lord. All right? It said that is a debate that needs to play out in a public setting, said John Davidson, the director of litigation at the nonprofit Electronic Privacy Information Center. It's one that deserves public scrutiny and sunlight, that deserves the participation of elected representatives, that deserves opportunities for the public to weigh in through public comment and testimony. But they don't care about that. Hold on. Hello? Oh yeah, So they saying they ain't even asking the public no more. That's what the person just said. It said usually the public will weigh in on things like this, but they don't care about the public weighing in. This America is basically about to become a dictatorship, man. That's basically what it's going to become. It says when federal agencies plan to collect or use Americans' personal data in new ways, there are procedures they are required to follow beforehand, including giving public notice, which they didn't do. They didn't give the public notice. Just like they didn't give the public notice when they said, oh, you got to get this jump shot. I remember how it started. They was like, yo, you go in the store, it's voluntary to wear a mask or not. And then they made it mandatory. Then they made the V, I believe they made the V first, it was voluntarily. And then they said, they made it a mandate. So they're going to do the same thing with this. Ultimately, they're going to do the same thing with what? The micro CHIP, man. And that's what this all these things, these AIs and all this national citizenship data system, all this is a gear towards the MOTB. And that's how we know it's close. Because as all this war stuff continues, Oh, and then do it on the slick shit. They doing all this type of shit, and also you had the whole thing with the real ID. They're making everything more like calculated to where they're tracking your every move and what you have and how much you're engraft into the system. Because ultimately this is a digital takeover. Remember they called it the AI takeover. And it says another privacy expert, University of Virginia School of Law professor Danielle Citrons called this this data aggregation effort a hair on fire development. She told NPR she has questions if the project itself is lawful. Man, this is somebody that's within the American system that's American and all that, but they're talking about the intrusion of the government now. Because how else is all this sedition among men and all these things going to start? Civil unrest. The Lord said it should be uproars of the people. How much more in the daughter of Babylon, which is AKA America? Because America is going to be the forerunner to all this of the beast system. They're doing all the experiments on China and other parts of the world, so when they bring it to America, they got all the kinks worked out. But yeah, I got to get going though. So Lord willing, you know what? Lord willing, I'm gonna do a part 2.